Hi, welcome to my podcast, Becoming a Cut Flower Grower. I'm your host, Lydia, and I'm here to share my year of growing and selling cut flowers. I'll be giving you the lowdown on everything I'm doing and sharing all the highs and lows, the good times and the inevitable disasters, all in real time. Join me on my cut flower journey, starting right now. Hello and welcome to the latest episode. It's Friday the 5th of September 2025. And it feels like 5 minutes since my last episode. I have absolutely no idea where the second half of this week has gone. So if you listened to the last episode, which was me at the National Dahlia Society show, I hope you enjoyed it. It was a really, really good day out, and it is still on over the weekend if you get the chance to visit and you're in the UK. I hope you've had a good week, and if you in the UK you've been dodging the showers, which have been very heavy and all random times, and they sweep in incredibly quickly. And I have been caught out a couple of times this week. In between the showers, I've been deadheading on the plot. There's not masses to do actually, but I'm kind of been itching to get on and just tidy things up and cut things down and just generally give it all a really good tidy. So I've been doing that and also harvesting some seed, which is great. I've actually collected more than I thought I would, and quite a lot of Orlia as well. And I think they just a few of them had just gone towards the end and they weren't long enough to sell. So I let them go to seed. So I've been cutting those guys down, and that's been great. And I've been having a go at drying some flowers as well. I put a post on Instagram about what I'd done with the dahlia stems that I hadn't managed to sell because either they weren't long enough stem length or they weren't good enough quality, and I'm just not putting anything out that's not brilliant. So I didn't know what to do with them, and so I cut them and covered a couple of the water bowsers with them just to make like a decorative display, and it was actually really cheerful and I loved it. And I put a little video on the Instagram, and one of the ladies that I'm in a local growing group with, she put a comment up saying I should be drying, or I could be drying them, and she's got an excellent point. So I'm having a go at drying some of them now. I'll see how I get on with that. So the most exciting thing that's happened to me this week is that I had two new florists come and visit to the plot and buy from me. Now, if you are a regular listener, you'll know I've had some issues trying to get new florists on board this year, and it's yeah, it's been really difficult, and I've just I kind of gave up in the end. Like I sent out messages to people, I sent out emails, I invited some to come and have a look, and somebody said they would, and then I never heard from them again. And um, I wasn't wearing my big girl pants at the time, and I sort of let it get to me, and I thought, well, they're either not interested in what I've got, or my approach has been, completely wrong, and I've done something awful, and they don't want anything to do with me. So I kind of knocked my confidence a little bit, as it would if you just meet someone and invite them to come and have a look at something, and they just flat out ignore you or don't come. And so I just let it go. And then quite randomly, these two lovely florists got in touch. They wanted to buy from me. And one of them I've met before. Hopefully, she's going to be joining this hub that is supposedly starting soon, but I don't know when. And I say supposedly, like it is starting soon. There's no supposedly about it. I just don't have a date for when it's going to happen yet. Anyway, the two ladies, they came on Wednesday to have a look, and it was really nice to show them around the plot. Really, really nice. And one of the ladies that came is a florist that does the most incredible bouquets in Marlow. And she just needed like literally a handful of tiny little extra bits because she does most of her own growing. And she does these wonderful bouquets that I just look at on Instagram, and they're just so impeccably put together, and it just reaffirms my belief that I should just leave the hand ties well alone and just let people who know what they're doing, who are good at it, just get on with it. So that was really, really nice to meet them, and they came and had a wander through, and I got to explain a little bit about the place, what my plans are for next year. So I'm very much hoping that they will buy from me next year. So, as I said, we've had masses of rain this week, and I've actually got over 700 litres in one of the bowsers. I haven't been down to check the other two yet, but I think one of them certainly will have quite a bit in it as well. And the water butts have all filled up, so everybody's happy, and it's of course it's lovely rainwater, so it's just really really nice, and that's been great. And I've started tidying up one of the stables so that I can create a little studio, which I'll talk about at the end of the podcast. And then when it's been raining, I've been working my way through the How to Grow Cut Flowers books that I bought. Lenny Larkins is absolutely incredible. And I bought a notebook so I can actually go through and make notes to help things stick in my brain. And I've actually been answering the questions as they've been raised in the book, because initially I thought I'll just read the book all the way through and kind of, when you get to something where someone asks you to consider something and you think, oh, that looks like really hard work, I'll come back and do that another time. And then you just don't. So I thought, no, do it properly, go through it all, write all the answers down. And it's really, really been very helpful. I would love to do a course that she has available, an online course, but it's actually out of my budget. So that's not going to happen this year. I some of the questions that I've been thinking about this week is really examining my local market. And what I've done this year is very much focused on my nearby town, which there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's a great town, and exactly the right kind of clients there, and obviously my lovely wedding florist is based there. But by doing a bit of research within a sort of 20-minute radius of me, I have come up with some new areas that are well worth looking into. So could do with expanding my reach out into those areas, just and making contact with those florists and getting some inroads. And maybe the florists will be more receptive to me contacting them in the winter when they're not so busy with weddings and events, because I do realize that asking people to take time out of a really busy schedule to go and have a look at my plot, which could be completely unsuitable for them, is probably not, they're not all rushing to the door to do that. So maybe the winter will be a good time for that. And I've also been thinking an awful lot about like my unique selling point, which is something that I hadn't given like a really, really thorough thought to. And I think it's been really helpful to just really, really look at it. And I haven't come up with like the definitive pitch or sentence or whatever it is that you want to come up with, but it has made me think a lot about it, because there are lots and lots of growers growing chemical free now, plastic free, and no synthetic fertilizers, and all of this kind of stuff, which is, in my opinion, as it should be. But so that doesn't really differentiate me from any other grower. That's not anything unique. And so I think it's important to try and find something that's different about my flowers, or the way I'm growing them, or the setup, or something that is memorable. And when the florists are thinking, oh, I need some stems, they might just think, oh, yeah, Lydia Henhill, that would be, it's just something to maybe stick in their minds. And maybe it'll be the chickens, or I'm not sure actually. I'm still thinking about that, because it's like how to make it relevant or memorable for the florists. So, yeah, there's a lot more work to be done on that. I bought some eucalyptus at the National Dahlia Society show. They have lots of stall holders, plant growers and suppliers go, and I bought some eucalyptus there. I've wanted some for years actually, and I wanted to get it from a company called Hardy Eucalyptus in the UK, but they're expensive, and I'm sure they're fantastic quality. I met them years ago, and they've got lovely, lovely product, but it does boil down to cost when you're buying shrubs. They're not cheap, and quite rightly, they've been looked after for years, and they've got lots of woody growth on them, and it's like a proper thing that you're buying. So I don't expect them to be cheap, but you've got to shop within your budget, right? So I really was after baby blue, because this is apparently one that's very popular with the florists, and it keeps its foliage, like the small round sort of discs of the greeny blue, rather than turning into gunny eye, which is just like the one that you get down the garden centres, which before you know it, like you blink and you have 30-foot worth of tree. And I actually put two in my garden at home years ago with the full intention of coppicing them. And I think in like one season, it got away from me. One of them died in the really cold weather that we had a couple of years ago. 2 years ago, that passed away. And the one out the front has just turned into an absolute triffid, and it's now so big. And what's weird is that there's like a clear stem of, like, I don't know, a couple of meters going up, and then all the foliage is at the top. So I can't actually get to it, and I can't really coppice it at this point because the trunk is like a proper tree trunk. So that was a bit of a mistake. So it's just blowing around doing its own thing out there. It looks very nice and it's pretty and evergreen and all the rest of it, but I can't actually get hold of any of the stuff. So I was excited to pick up a baby blue the other day, and then I think baby blue stays as a dwarf as well. I need to check that, but I think it does. And then I got another variety called Azura, which I think turns into a monster if you don't take care of it and keep it coppiced. But I'll put a label on that one so I know to keep that nice and low. So that's quite a nice start, and I'll be interested to see how fast they get away on the plot this winter and how much I can actually cut from them. I don't think for one moment it's going to replace what the florists do, because I imagine if they need eucalyptus for arrangements or bouquets or displays or whatever, they're going to go and buy 40 or 50 stems from the wholesaler. But I thought it would just be nice to have something for myself, and who knows, I might be able to get the stem count up at some point. Now, plans for the weekend, I'm fully intending to start some of my hardy annuals. So if you listen regularly, you'll know that I've bought the bulk of my seeds for next year. I'm not allowed to buy, I'm telling myself this, I am not allowed to buy any more. I've got plenty. And I'm going to have a stab at getting them going and see what happens with that. And the other thing that I want to do this weekend is carry on setting up this studio. So at the moment, I am storing all the flowers ready for collection in the chickens' feed room, which is not ideal because when you get a large volume of flowers, they invariably are just in the way, and I don't want to be knocking into them or damaging them or anything. Excuse me. And so there's just various tables and shelves, and then I've got things drying and they're hung up on hooks. And again, I don't want to brush into them. So next to the feed room is a stable, and it's actually called Kylie's room because Kylie was my little bird who had some babies in March. And because it was like winter and the daft bird wanted to have her babies in the depths of winter, she had them in the stable. So it just forever became known as Kylie's room. And anyway, Shirley, who's got her babies now, she's got Kermie and Miss Piggy. Shirley's outside because it's still warm, so that she doesn't need to be in the stable. So I really want to spend this weekend sorting the stable out. And I've got lots and lots of glass jars that I've been collecting for years. I must say I get through an awful lot of mayonnaise, even though I know how to make it and I have eggs. I just end up buying mayonnaise. So I keep all of the jars of coffee, mayonnaise, jam, absolutely everything. Just, I know I don't have a plan for them, but I know one day I'm going to want lots of jars, and they are useful but for putting stems in if they're not in buckets. Anyway, there's a whole thing that needs sorting out with the stable, and then get it all set up with tables and shelves. And then I want to put some wood across the ceiling area so that I can hang my dried flowers properly and everything can stay nice. And then the buckets, when they're awaiting collection, can be in the studio. I don't know, it's going to end up just being called Kylie's room, to be honest, rather than the studio, because the studio probably sounds a bit pretentious, like it's not a studio like an art and craft or any kind of space. We'll see. But the point is, it all needs sorting out. So I'm going to do that this weekend as well. So quite a bit to get on with, and I'm sure it's going to be gone in a flash. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing this weekend, I hope you have a good one and that the weather is kind to you. And I will be back for the next episode on Tuesday. Take care, all the best.